Everybody, thank you so much for coming. It is wonderful to have a full house on such an exciting day when council members have served and helped our city, and council members are going to come in and take on 2 more years. And I'm really glad to share that with all of y'all. Let us begin with the invocation and the pledge. Lord, bless our council who served most recently. Bless our incoming council members, all of them volunteers with servants' hearts. Guide us as we embark on new projects and make decisions for Simonton's future. And please especially watch over our first responders and military who serve for all of us at home and abroad. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Item 3 on our agenda is public comment. Okay, before we go to public comment, for those that are standing, we have about 5 chairs up in the front that apparently have cooties because they're on the front row. It can be moved to easily roll if anybody would like them. Item 3, public comments. Julie is standing in for us today. Do we have any public comment today?
We have one public comment, Mr. Van McDonough.
Great, thank you.
I'm requested to speak on a particular item.
Thank you.
What's the item, Julie?
9.
All right. Thank you. All right, moving on to new business. Item 4, A, conduct a canvass of the May 3rd, 2025 general election in the city of Simonton as authorized by Texas Election Code 67.004. The council will examine the results as certified by Fort Bend County, Election Administrator John Oldham, and adopt the results by a minute order. So I'll give you the results for those in the room. Votes cast for candidates: Faith Haley, 89, Courtney Cox, 86, Eric Duhan, 120, CJ Ferguson, 105, Andy Perry, 126, and Angela King, 111. The canvass reflects that the following persons were duly elected to the following positions: Eric Duhan, Alderman; Andy Perry, Alderman; and Angela King, Alderwoman. This will be passed, approved, and adopted on the 13th day of May, 2025. Julie, will you take a minute order for us, which is a roll call vote?
Lori, I have a quick question, if we could, before we do that, very quickly. It's probably a technicality, but this resolution number, as well as Nancy Moore's name being on the secondary page as to attest to it. The resolution number is 2501, and that's actually the Roberts Rule of Law that we passed on February 18th.
So I appreciate that, but the resolution is the next item, so let's address it in just a minute on the next item. Right now, we're still on item A with the canvas. Okay? We'll handle the canvas and the resolution separately.
Okay.
Councilmember McCabe.
Aye.
Councilmember Justin Boudreaux.
Aye.
And Councilmember Courtney Cox.
Aye.
Thank you. And Burns Turner is absent. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. So item B is consider and take action regarding resolution 2025-01. And let's check and see. This was prepared by Nancy before she moved on to another opportunity. So if it needs to be renumbered, we can certainly do that, but I believe that it's the first resolution of 2025.
And right above
We can,
that, on the agenda itself, right above it, it says, in accordance with the City Council's adopted resolution 2025-01, the amended rules and procedures related to City Council deliberations and public comment, which we adopted February the 18th, 2025. So it definitely needs it's not the first resolution that we've adopted. I just wanted to make sure it was accurate, because I know this information has to be presented by tomorrow, no later than tomorrow, to Fort Bend County. I think that would
so if the
require-
resolution needs to be renumbered, we can certainly include that in our, when we do our,
Will Julie be
when we do our motion?
Will Julie be attesting to this, or?
Yes. So do we have I'll read it. Let me give it to everyone who might not have a copy. Consider and take action regarding Resolution 2025-01, pending verification that the number might need to be updated. A resolution of the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas, canvassing the returns for and declaring the results of the general municipal election held on May 3rd, 2025, for the purpose of electing 3 at-large positions to the City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas. Do we have a motion on this item?
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
Kelly and Justin, first and second. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And that's unanimous. Thank you. We're going to take C and D in opposite order. So item D is recognition of service for outgoing city council members, Courtney Cox, Faith Haley, and Burns Turner. Thank you both for serving for 2 years, for listening to constituents and bringing forth items that were important and on your agenda of things that you talked about with the voters that were important to them and important to you. So thank you for being willing to serve. Faith, we have a plaque. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. We don't have our usual back, so we'll just be shuffling. We'll deliver Councilmember Turner's at another time. And item C, we'll go back to C, for installation of city council members-elect. The newly elected officials will make required statement of officer and the oath of office. So our council members-elect, you'll come up and I will give you your oath and your statement. How about we'll do it in front, up here?
All together or one?
We're going to do it separately.
All right.
Yep. All right. Eric, you go first.
Oh, I'm a lone
You're
wolf.
all
I'm
alone.
a lone wolf.
Easy, O's.
Already.
Here you go, sir, so you can move along. If you like to, or you can just repeat after me.
Right.
If you raise your hand, I
I, Eric Mark Anthony Duhon,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties of the office of
City Councilman
City Councilman
of the State of
of
Texas
the State of Texas
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
protect, and defend
the Constitution
the
and laws
Constitution and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this
and of
state.
this state.
So help me God. Thank you very much. That's the oath of office. Now we'll go statement of officer. I, say your name,
Eric Mark Anthony Duhon,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly
that I have not directly or indirectly
paid, offered,
Paid,
promised to
offered,
pay,
promised to pay,
or contributed, or promised to
or
contribute
promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promise any public office or employment
or promise any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of a vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election at which I was elected,
or reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whatever the case may be,
whatever the case may be.
so help me
So help
God.
me God.
Fantastic. After the meeting. Andy? Well, if I can get my part. I state your name.
Andrew David Perry,
Do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I
that I
will
will
faithfully execute the duties
will faithfully execute the duties of the office of
City Councilman of the State of
the
Texas
State of Texas,
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will be to the best of my ability
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the constitutional laws of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
All right, the statement of officer. I
I, Andrew David Perry,
do solemnly
do
swear
solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly
that I have not directly or indirectly
paid, offered,
offered,
promised to pay,
promised to pay
contributed, or promised to contribute any money
any money
or thing of value,
thing of value,
or promise any public office or employment
or promise any public office or employment
for the giving or withholding of a vote
for the giving or withholding of the vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election of which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
or as a reward to secure my appointment or confirmation,
whatever the case may be,
whatever the case may be.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right. All right, Miss Angela. I'm sorry, I'm looking over at your beautiful grandkids for you. It's all right. That's totally fine. Totally fine. All right, making sure I'm on the same page with you. I, state your name,
I, Angela King,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute the duties
that I will faithfully execute the duties
of the office of City Council Member
of the office of City Council Member
of the State of Texas
of the State of Texas
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution and laws of the United States
the Constitution and laws of the United States
and of this state,
and of this state.
so help me God.
So help me God.
All right, last one. I
I, Angela King,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I have not directly or indirectly
that I have not directly or indirectly
paid, offered, promised to pay,
paid, offered, promised to pay,
contributed, or promised to contribute
contributed, or promised to contribute
any money or thing of value,
any money or thing of value,
or promised any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote
or promise any public office or employment for the giving or withholding of a vote
at the election at which I was elected,
at the election at which I was elected,
or as a reward to secure my appointment
or as a reward to secure my appointment
or confirmation,
or confirmation,
whichever the case may be,
whichever the case may be.
so help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you so much. Council members, please come and take your seats.
Thank you for your service.
turn this a little bit, you think?
Is that what it says?
We'll see if it says something.
We can switch it. Find it.
Sorry, they have their own button. Take that one away, that's okay. Did Courtney take her binder?
Yes, she did it. All good.
Okay. All right. Back to our next agenda item, which is welcome remarks. I think that we've talked, each of the new council members have come in and talked about things that are priority to them, things they heard from you, the public, and are eager to volunteer. So thank you all so much for being willing to give us your time and your talents. Thank your family for us for being willing to support you, to give your time and talents. The decisions are not always easy, but they're super important, and I think that each of you have demonstrated that during the election, and thank you very much for listening. Item F, election of the mayor pro tem. It is customary that the mayor recommends a council member to serve as the mayor pro tem. In Simonton, we do that for 1 year, and we revisit this item each year at election time. The mayor pro tem's primary responsibility is to run a meeting in the absence of the mayor. But there are all sorts of jobs that everybody on the council will volunteer for. So my recommendation is to elect Justin Boudreau as the mayor pro tem. He's our longest serving council member. He also is well-versed and has spent a lot of time investing in training for our emergency operations, and I think that he would serve well in this capacity if needed. So council members, do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion.
I'd second.
Any discussion?
I think he's right. He's got most. Steve.
I'm
Thank
sorry.
you. Oh,
I have a question. Is it that time? So the
It was
selection
about this
criteria.
item, yes.
Okay, it is about the item.
Uh-huh.
Selection you used, I appreciate the fact that he has been here a long time. The only question I would have is the amount of time devoted to assisting you, because right now, we have just you running this place. And it's hard. I know it's hard. You don't have an official secretary. You do have finance person. But we're in desperate need of moving forward, and in order to move forward as we've been elected to do, my only question would be, have you considered the amount of time it's going to take and of his availability?
Justin and I have visited about that. If you want to answer for yourself, sir, you're welcome to.
And second question, madam?
Okay, well, let's give him an opportunity since you just asked him a question.
Oh, I did. Go ahead.
So we have talked and I've offered anything I can do to help, especially where we are right now, to help us move forward with everything from roads or whatever we need help with, and however I can fill in and help in those areas that are that capacity.
And the
Don't
final-
worry, that doesn't leave you off.
Oh, I know. Oh, I very much know. So the only other question would be, had you consulted with anybody else on the board, on the council, about potentially doing it? Or was this your first choice?
About serving?
Yeah,
I have talked with Kelly about it previously,
okay.
and I think we're in agreement.
Okay,
Kelly has got her hands full with several committees already and is continuing to offer to serve in more capacities.
and she
So,
is a longstanding member, so that's good, thank you.
You bet.
I recommended him 2 years ago, and that still stands.
Okay.
All right. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? I'll call it unanimous. Thank you, Justin, for being willing to serve. All right, item G. I'm sorry for keeping you waiting. We always try to keep our guests at the top of the agenda to make it short, but thanks for staying for that important part. We have a presentation by Melody Hess and Emma McIntosh with New First Bank regarding treasury management services, CEDARS, and ICS accounts. This is an education portion for council and public about the items, the services that we use, why we use them, what they're good for, what is municipal compared to, let's say, personal. Turn it over to you.
Okay, thank you for the invitation to be here tonight. My name is Melody Hess. I'm with First National Bank. I've got Emma McIntosh with me. I've been at the bank for about 20 years, and I newly joined the First National Bank last year, so I'm happy to have her helping. So New First has been around since 1902. A lot of people have not heard of the bank because we don't do a lot of advertising, but we're primarily a commercial bank. We also work with individuals, we work with municipalities, other public funds, and so we're here to talk about the CEDARS, and I know we've got a handout for everybody if you want to take a look at this. We'll try to follow along with the information that we've handed out. We want to talk about CEDARS and ICS. They're two products offered by a third party that we utilize in a big way at the bank. The big thing about them is they provide a lot of FDIC insurance capacity without going out and us collateralizing deposits and providing a lot of paperwork for y'all to do, which is kind of historically the way that municipalities and other public funds were insured or guaranteed by a depositor. So just a little bit about it. CEDARS stands for Certificate of Deposit Account Registry Service. So that is a fixed term product. They go anywhere from 4 weeks on up to 2 years. I think cities can only go up to 2 years for their investments. The service that we use is called Intrafi. If anybody wants to look at it online, Intrafi, INTRAFI. They've been around also doing this for a very long time, and I've worked with them for more than 20 years with their products. So we have a lot of experience with the products. CEDARS was the first one that came out. ICS came out later. ICS stands for Insured Cash Sweep, and it does what it says, by the name. It is a sweep product that we utilize for excess deposits, and we'll get to that in a minute, from the checking accounts that are not ready to be invested. So it is ideal for public funds because of the capacity. 50 million on CEDARS is how much you can insure for it, and on ICS you can insure 190 million. So I have not run into those limits with clients yet, but it's possible that could happen. So years ago, CEDARS was defined in the Public Funds Code, section 2256. It's described, it's not called CEDARS, it's not called Intrafi, it is just described as what it does. And that's how that product became available and widely used for public funds. ICS came out later. It came out originally as a money market account and later as a demand deposit account, which is what we utilize as demand deposit. If we set up a sweep, and we'll talk about that in a minute, we have to allow for more than 6 withdrawals per month if it's needed as a sweep. So we use the demand deposit side of the product. The way it works is it's technically a pass-through insurance. So Intrafi is a large network of more than 3,000 banks. The banks that are in the network have to qualify financially. You can't have a bank that's in trouble that's in the network and take CEDARS deposits or ICS deposits. But it is a pass-through insurance. So we are utilizing other banks' insurance. They're using our FDIC insurance, and so that's how we get that capacity of how much is available through CEDARS or ICS for insurance. So the way it works is we place our orders. CEDARS every Wednesday is our deadline. So if we don't get orders approved, we start calling our clients. We place the orders. It goes into the network. It gets placed through the network, and Thursday settlement date, the day after we place the orders, and that settlement actually divides up the deposit. If it's a $10 million deposit, it doesn't matter what the amount is. It's still going to be insured. It's still going to be under the same transaction. It will just be in increments less than $250,000. So in our case, New First is the custodian bank over those accounts. We are the ones who handle them for all of our clients. And again, we have a lot of clients that utilize it. Some individuals, some municipalities, public funds, and some commercial clients. So there's a lot of application for it. So that's, the page that talks about how CEDARS and ICS works. Why we use CEDARS, the next page, we'll go to it. We use it for primarily the FDIC insurance aspect. Again, it's $190 million per client. That means per tax ID number. The accounts are liquid. They're a daily settlement. So what we do is we will, in the case of the city, we'll look at all the balances combined to keep them under $250,000, and we'll set up a target balance. So if a deposit comes in, it'll automatically move it over. Once the target's met, target balance, if the target balance is $25,000 or $50,000, the account returns to that target balance every single day that there's a transaction. The rest of the money sits in ICS until it either gets invested or checks are written and it automatically transfers it back. Nobody has to monitor the deposits for FDIC insurance with the program because this product is integrated into our core system, so it does happen automatically when we set it up. So again, it's daily settlement. If funds are needed, it's always available to pull from. I mentioned that interest is compounded daily, gives you a little bit more yield than just from the rate if it was compounded, say, monthly or quarterly. We provide monthly statements, so Julie is the lucky recipient of the monthly statements for all of the CEDARS or ICS program as well as the bank statements. We do monthly statements so that you can include them in your financials and you can show the accrued interest that's been earned on the account. We do offer competitive rates. Technically, it's a demand deposit account, so it's really earning a fairly good rate on excess deposits that are not needed immediately, but they're available for use. So it's a benefit program. As far as CEDARS, next page over. Again, CEDARS are insured to $50 million per client. Interest is compounded daily as well. Statements are provided monthly, again, so your accrued interest is showing. That's useful, especially for CEDARS that could be a 6-month term. You want to look at what you're earning and how it's compounding along the way, rather than waiting till the maturity. They do offer longer terms, but we only go out to 2 years for municipalities. Funds can be laddered out, so when you collect a lot of tax money at the beginning of the year, you can ladder out your maturities, so you have some coming due earlier, some that are fixed for a longer term. Right now, I think nobody knows what rates are going to do. Some people think rates are going to fall. So some folks are going out as long as they can with the excess funds that they've got so they can lock in that rate until they mature. So you can do multiple terms. The only requirement is a CEDARS or more, which is the requirement. There is no minimum on ICS because of sweeps and that amount can vary. So before I go on, are there any questions so far on the product? Yeah.
Yes, I have a few. I'm brand new. I've been elected to try to take care of the money for the people of Simonton, so I do have a few questions, if you don't mind. And I'm sorry, I didn't catch your name. Your name?
Melody.
Melody?
Yes.
Okay, thank you, Melody. All right, so the first question I have is, are you a fiduciary?
I can't hear you.
Are you a fiduciary?
I am a bank officer at New First National Bank.
Is New First National Bank our fiduciary in the transactions? Which means they have to take our interest as supreme and do the best they can to do what we intend to happen. And that you actually are responsible monetarily and judicially.
So we would not be your investment officer. Normally you would have an investment officer within the organization. We do review and recommend different investments within CEDARS depending on cash flow needs and that sort of thing. We also review for FDIC insurance purposes to keep the limits where they need to be
but we're not the investment officer that would look at, for instance, other products outside of FDIC insured, whether it's investment pool or something like that. We would not be part of that recommendation.
So who selects where you buy your CDs?
So Sears is a network, so is ICS. They're the same IntraFi network. We are the custodian bank, so we go into the process with the amount that needs to be invested for our clients. It's done within that network. They actually have an algorithm that places the funds for all the banks that come to the network on that given week. They've been doing it for a long time, and the program has been reviewed and approved for public funds with the text of public funds posed. So,
Okay. You said something about writing checks. Who writes checks?
when the city writes checks on their operating account,
From a checking account?
yes.
Where's our checking account?
So we're going to get into our specific accounts in a few minutes.
Okay. All right, I'll hold off on that one. Wait. I just want to understand, because at some point in time, we joined you, right? We gave you a chunk of money and said, do this for us, invest in it for the city, right? When did that start?
I would have to go back and pull up the account record to get the opening date of the initial account. I don't have it here.
It's approximately
5 years? Okay. So, were you there 5 years ago?
Yes.
Okay, so you've been our contact person for...
Primary contact, yes.
Excellent, okay. And how does Julie work with them? Is it on a daily basis, monthly basis?
really as needed. They have been available to help us with reporting activity information.
Okay.
When renewals, something that's coming up for renewal, they'll send that to me.
Okay. And approval for money movement, where does it come from?
So the
Is it
money
automatic?
can, as far as Cedars and ICS, it can sweep back and forth, or it can go into Cedars. It always goes back to an account for the city. It doesn't leave the city unless a check is written or a wire or something is done. So that is the way the program is set up and designed to work. And so we as the custodian bank are the ones who only handle the transactions for our clients that go into that network.
And so there's wire transfers and SWIFT? Do you use
No,
SWIFT?
we don't do any wire transfers, but if the city had a wire transfer or a check written on their account, that's how the funds would ever leave the city.
Okay. That's good enough for now.
Any other council members have questions at this point?
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you. Thank you for allowing us to be here. And I'd like to introduce Emma to talk about Treasury Management Services, which is the business online part of what we do. I think she's going to talk about specifics, what the city utilizes today. It doesn't include all products or services that are available through Treasury Management, but I'll let Emma share a little bit about that as well.
Hey everyone, so at News First, like Melody said, we do offer a variety of treasury management services, but City of Simonton currently utilizes our basic access, ACH origination, remote deposit, mobile deposit, and get into a little bit more of that. So our online access for just basic allows me to look at real-time data, transaction history, full statements, in a fully secure environment. And then it's also just kind of streamlines everything, makes it look very simplistic. And then for ACH origination, it stands for automated clearing house, but it allows you to make electronic payments quickly, securely, and a lot of our clients use this service. For City of Simonton specifically, it's often used for payroll or payments to vendors, a lot of people do those types of things. And then remote and mobile deposit also allows you to make deposits from your desktop computer with a check scanner, and also through your mobile device. And it's a faster way for you to make deposits. So if you have anything to add to that.
I think that ACH, that payment type is utilized for payroll and for vendors currently. So we, as a bank, we can do debit and credit files, but I think y'all are just using credit files for that currently.
Credit file.
And I think that you are also, this might not be the right category, I don't know if it belongs right here, but you all also are working on an addition to service where we can go in and look at Cedars.
Yes.
Self-serve, view our Cedars accounts like we can our other accounts.
Yes, so within Entrify, they have a deposit control panel where we can go in and add our clients like Julie or Lori to go and be able to look at everything and then pull statements as well. So that's something I've been working on with City of Simonton so that they can kind of have that like at their fingertips without having to contact us.
All the things you have been super responsible for that.
And that's kind of a new feature that Entrify has come out with a lot of requests from banks like us and our clients to be able to view the statements immediately because it takes longer and longer for items to come through the mail. And so clients need to be able to do their financial reports. Now the ICS product is integrated into our core system. So when you folks log in to the bank account, you can actually see balances. You just can't pull statements, but you can see activity and balances just like the bank accounts because of the suite that we have set up and integrated.
So, I have another, okay.
Either of y'all have questions at this point, or? Justin, you're up, sir.
Okay, I'm back up. You mentioned basically the mobile deposit, remote deposit, et cetera. If it can be done on a phone, where's the security and who can have that ability? Do you have a?
I don't utilize that feature at all. All of our remote capture is handled on a desktop, and we have a remote capture scanner. So I physically scan each check and capture it through the system. I don't utilize any mobile banking.
Okay.
Everything is done through a business computer.
The other thing about security also is that whether it is through a mobile or through the computer, we have additional, not only passcode, of course, required for the login, but we use an authenticator app that also, is required, especially for clients who have services like ACH or wires. And so we're required, but that is also another level of security that we have in place for a long time.
Okay, and it's server-based here. So you have a server here that she operates off of, and that's it. She said she doesn't use mobile at all, so I guess my question is, we have a laptop, desktop, but
My laptop
Okay.
has the ability, it is web-based, so you can log in, but I only utilize a Simonton computer to do anything from.
Okay.
The scanner.
The scanner's attached
She was
to.
talking about comes from the bank. If we want to bring in a check and we're going to deposit right through that scanner, it came from
Excellent.
the bank and it's connected through that.
Okay, thank you.
computer system.
And that is stationed, it's not, it doesn't get removed, it is stationed to the computer.
Good. Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you both so much for being willing to be here and
Thank you, Emma.
give us
Thank you.
Glad to be here.
about it. Thank you. Item H, consider and take action to approve the quarterly financial reporting update. This is an update that for 5 years or so was every quarter happening. When we lost our financial officer and we have not been back to full staff, we haven't presented this particular report. So Julie and I took out the template, dusted it off. We've gone through with the help of Emma and all of the reports from New First and giving you everything that was in the quarterly report before, which gives you an information about every account and what it belongs to. So an example of what Melody was talking about with the sweep accounts is the very first account on the list. New First, the city operating, and how the beginning balance is $25,000 and the current balance is $25,000 exactly. The reason is that is exactly what she was talking about. The balance set for that is $25,000. If we get deposits and it's more than 25 at midnight, it sweeps out of that account, so that it stays at a constant balance of 25,000. The next line down, the ICS, is where it goes. So if it leaves the operating account, it goes to, correct me if I'm wrong, Julie or Melody, but it goes to that next line down, the new first ICS. So I've made notes out on the right-hand side in the notes column so that you can see which accounts belong to which thing and why activity is happening. Line 2, that new first ICS, the comment off the side that Q1 receives the majority of ad valorem sales tax. That's why you see deposits of $275,000 in one quarter. You'll see in the next quarter that that's significantly less because most of your sales tax, your property tax is collected at the beginning of the year. You'll see that about 3 or 4 lines down, there is a new first account specifically for grants. It's a money market. The new first Keep Simonton Beautiful operating account is showing not a negative balance, but a change that money was spent. That's expenses in the first quarter primarily related to the Breast Spring Roundup. They still have a remaining balance of $5,712.88. I'll rely on working hard and not my glasses on.
Can I ask a question on that?
On Keep Simonton Beautiful?
On that line item.
Sure.
Okay, so isn't that part of one of the EDC's responsibility to sponsor that?
It's separate.
Just the city? Okay.
Well, the city actually doesn't, unless council votes or budget some sort of funds for them, they are self-funded.
Right.
But they're under the city's umbrella and we do their account.
Oh. Okay. Thank you.
You bet. If you look at the interest rate column, second from the right, you could see why we would have different investments in different products. ICS makes 2%, whereas Cedars are making 4% in this first quarter. So the reason that you diversify and have different kinds of products, I know Melody just said this, but you can see it in action where we're making twice the interest. So if we're not spending money right now because we're in the middle of the grant project, or roads haven't been done yet because we weren't on the schedule yet, whatever the reason may be, we've made a very intentional effort to make sure we keep those in the highest interest bearing that we possibly can.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
So when it does that sweep, does it sweep over into, that's the purpose, does it sweep that extra money into an account that has a higher interest bearing so we can make that money? Got it.
In the EDC-A and EDC-B sections, they have very similar types of accounts, and you can see the same thing. Each one has an operating account that has a $10,000 sweep, an ICS where the swept money goes, and then Cedars, if they have money available that's not being used, we're trying to help them make sure that they're collecting or earning as much interest as possible.
Madam Mayor?
I would point out, just one second, if you don't mind, just 1 second. An item EDC-A, on the third item, the second and third. The second, you can see where I've noted a $50,000 transfer from ICS to Cedars. And the change on that account is minus $49,000 in change. And then the next line down is Cedars at $51,428 in change. So that money was moved from a 2% interest bearing to a 3.924% interest bearing. That's the point, and that's what the comments mean.
Fantastic. The only thing I have is that in your 50K transfer to Cedars, the account number you used is 9890, and the one in Cedars is 9790, and I don't know if it's just a typographical or whatever.
Out in the notes column, it could be a typo. In the actual account number, it's
97?
accurate. Yeah.
Okay.
So if I've made a typo, I'll be sure and go back and check that.
Thank you.
Make it out A5. Okay,
Question.
sure.
Just so if we get grant money, we make money on the interest, the city gets to keep all that interest.
Yes. Appreciate it. And you can use it for the project that it's intended, or you can use it for something else. It's not required to stay. We've included text pool, which is the bottom one in the investment box. That is another kind of diversification tool. And I realized after I printed this that I don't think I gave you the interest rate. We'll get that for everyone and add it before we post it.
So,
That's
question, I
just
have another
another
question.
tool outside of New First Bank.
Sorry, I have another question. So, is there a limit on how much money we can make off of money? In other words, there used to be limits where the state says you can't just become your own bank and make all kinds of money off the money.
I should say, there probably is. I don't know that number. And since I've not been the trained finance officer at that level, I'll have to give that answer.
I appreciate it, because I knew there was, with the school districts, there is a limit that you can make.
I will get with
Okay.
Melody
Thank
and
you.
confirm that for you. And then last, although it is not an investment product, I included Wallace Bank just so that it's visible to you. And you can see how much money is in the account, the $4,460 in interest that was earned this quarter. Typically, what happens there is we receive franchise fees from CenterPoint Energy, and we use that account to pay our credit card statement. We use it like an operating.
No, we actually don't pay credit card through Wallace. We are required to keep an account at Wallace, but all of our payments for any business is happening through New First Operator.
Thank you.
So there is no debits that typically happen at Wallace Bank. It's just deposits.
Great. Thank you for that correction. And then the bottom box shows you what our sales tax, mixed beverage tax, Fort Bend CAD number 8, which is the County Assistance District, and our ad valorem tax collections were by month, January, February, March. And your total. Page 2. Sorry, are there any other questions about how the accounts work for this portion? Council?
How often do we get from the CenterPoint? Is that once a year or monthly? Okay.
The second page is something I provided because we've had a gap in this type of reporting. If council likes it, we can continue that, and if not, we don't always have to do the second page. But this is interest earned only. So for calendar 2024, you can see the interest earned by instrument for a total of $117,346.44. And interest earned in the first quarter of 2025 is $25,886.77.
25 or
25 or 23?
What did I say? 25. Huh? 23. It says it right on the page. 23,886.77.
So, Madam Mayor, I don't like people having to do extra work, right? I mean, we have enough work to do. So this particular report, which you said you put out as a trial balloon, I'd say burst the balloon, because we have the information, and if we just ask for semi-annual how much interest we're in, that's all this is really going to tell us. So take out, as far as I'm concerned, ask the rest.
I'd agree with that.
I agree.
All right, sounds like we have consensus for semi-annual for the interest reports. Okay.
So when we earn all of this money, and it's put into these accounts to earn more money, so then we go to revenue, is that money that we use towards extra income, is it money that we try to just leave in there to gain more, or how do we utilize it more?
It's in reserves, and council should come up with, or we should ongoing have a strategic plan about how reserves are used. And that would include this interest fund.
Okay, and that's something that we do at like.
Okay. All right. So council, Do we have a motion on item H, consider and take action to approve the quarterly financial reporting update?
I move we accept the quarterly financial report update.
Thank you.
Second.
Thank you, Justin, Eric, and Justin. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. Thank you, Kelsey. Item I, receive change order update related to the ARPA grant project, City Hall expansion. Council, these are change orders that have been made while we're working on City Hall. LED lights for the entire chamber, not just the new section, which was approved by previous council. The expense of demobilizing and remobilizing the contractor due to the ADA compliance challenges that we face. Upgrade on the city council bench, which is the facade, and previous council has approved that expenditure. And then the last one in this batch is replace the entire ceiling, and that really means replacing all of the ceiling tiles, not the drop down, and not just replacing the stained ones and having half the room with brand new and half the room with old. So previous council has already approved that. The reason I've included it is, number one, for your awareness, but also if you go to the last page of that last change order, it lists all the change orders that have been made. So for the public, that gives us a recap all in one page. The original contract amount was $295,575.72. We've had 8 change orders now, 2 of them significant credits, over $16,000 in credits. So our revised contract amount as of May 8th was $294,782.72. So we are under budget.
Can I ask a question?
Sure. No, that's okay.
Why is there credits? Did we take something out or?
We did. So we realized that in the original contract, there was air conditioner balancing, and that's the best explanation I can tell you about what it was called. That was unnecessary. The HVAC company and the electricians thought it was unnecessary, so we were able to save that $15,000. And there's a vent that was on the end of the building where the courtroom was previously, originally, that could be reused. So there was an $800 credit where we didn't need the new vent that was in the original plan, so we have a credit for that. We'll see coming up that we also are going to remove some shelving units, the wall shelving that was in the original bid, to the tune of, I think, $3,200. We're going to remove that because we have some freestanding shelving that will be better in about a third of the price. So, the project's not over. I'm not guaranteeing we'll continue to stay under, but that's where we are today. So that is a status report. There's no action that's necessary for that.
But we can ask questions, can we not? Okay. All of these are dated 5/9, but all of these changes were made 2 months ago or so? But
When the
the
change
official
order-
signatures are not till 5/9.
That's right. So there's a process, there are emails that support when the decisions are made at the time, but because this is a federal grant program, we're using grant money, there's a process that it needs to go through where the change orders are sent by the contractor to our engineers, because they're managing this project for us. They write it up as a change order officially, they send it to me, I approve it and send it back, they approve it, and then they issue us the request for payment.
So you're able to do all of that in one day.
We did the last 4 change orders all in one day because that's when we received them.
Pretty efficient. All right, so I have one more observation, I promise. That's about all I have. I looked at the total that we're saving and the total that was original, and it's amazing to me because I've seen this before with people that do projects. If you find something in savings, they're going to find a way to get the money back in some way, shape, or form by making suggestions or changes. I'm just saying, just an observation, not an accusation, okay? And yeah, and then the only other observation is, all of these change orders, some of them, it seems to me that either our architect, our engineers, somebody blew it. Simple, if you're going to do lighting, they knew the room was going to be half and half. So they should have said, we recommend the quality lighting of LEDs because it's cheaper, saves electricity. Why wouldn't they have done that from the beginning? And if they had walked in here and saw the damaged panels, why wouldn't they have put in new panels from the beginning for us to do, right? So it wasn't, in my mind, a quality project from the start by either the architect, the engineer. Somebody should have come up front early and said, y'all approved the drawings, you approved everything else, but hey, we have these things that we just noticed or we forgot. I mean, we've been fighting this thing, how long now? For quite a bit. We have to be the suckers having to make the changes when I'm saying you could blame the architect and the engineer. That's it, I'm done.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right, moving on to item 5. Consider and take action on the consent agenda. Items C, D, and E will be removed from the consent agenda. Those are March monthly financial reports. Because we moved this meeting a week earlier than normal, those reports are not ready yet, so we will have March and April at our next regular meeting. So item 5, consent agenda remains with the draft city council meeting minutes from April 15th and the revenue and expense report from February 2025. Council, do we have a motion on the consent agenda?
I'll second it.
Ellie and Andy. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? I can't always hear everybody, so are we, did you vote or is anybody abstaining? Okay. Unanimous. Got it. All right, item 6 is adjourned to executive session. Thanks, everybody, for coming. You don't have to leave, but we are going to take the room and hold our executive session. We'll welcome you back when we get through. So, thanks, everybody, for coming back. We adjourned to executive session at 7:33 p.m. to consider items section 551.071, consultation with legal counsel, and 551.074, personnel. The City Council of the City of Simonton, Texas ended its closed executive session at 8:09 p.m. on this day, the 15th of April, 2025. So we're reconvening in open session. There is no action to take resulting from the executive session. So we'll move on to item 9, which is reports. Good news is I've met with the council members, at least preliminarily to start with. They're eager to go. So we have a street sign survey and replacement project. I believe we have a volunteer that's going to go and start that survey, but we're happy to have any volunteers to join in. Are you taking that one on, sir, or did you find a volunteer? Or this was our idea we talked about?
This was our idea.
Okay, sorry. Okay, we're taking, we'd be happy to have some volunteers to help us canvass the sections of Valley Lodge specifically, because there are lots of street signs that are missing, damaged, leaning over, missing poles, and we'd like to get that list comprehensively put together and share it with Fort Bend County Road and Bridge, get a price, and decide how we're going to attack that. Trees overhanging the roadways. Councilmember.
Yeah, one of the things people were, talked about when the engine line was walking, like the trees are bad, Bronco's bad. So I asked her what we could do about a beautification committee. She goes, no, the county will actually help us. So I did volunteer to go around and these red marked trees, not like center point, just so your truck or your car or van don't hit them. So we can start cleaning up some of the trees along the road. So I will take that one on and do a map for you, so it's easy for the county guys.
Thank you. If anybody has one in front of their house that you drive by, you're welcome to send it to us at info@simontontexas.gov.
I had some trees, but Andy cut them all down.
Lucky for you.
Yeah, some fell across the road too.
West Longhorn, over nearest the river, on our last entrance near the bridge has had a temporary barricade to keep people who were driving west-east from going too far as the river continues to erode right there. It's blown over an untold number of times, so the county was kind enough to come out and install that in the ground. Didn't cost a lot, it can be repeated, so as that erosion continues, if it needs to move farther west, it can do that. But they came in and helped us at least resolve the problem of the wind blowing it over and someone potentially driving on the road and not seeing it at all. Road and Bridge also took up a tree request for consideration and removal, a tree that was in the right-of-way over on Surrey. We made the request and they were there within 2 days and it was enormous. So more kudos for Fort Bend County Road and Bridge. They really take great care of us. If I didn't say it, that area we were talking about was on Longhorn on the west side. The City Hall project is moving along. I think I said a month ago that the goal is to be through by the end of June. Still the case, we're on track. The contractors are showing up. We have tile repair, and you couldn't even tell that it ever happened because we had one box of tile that we saved from the last installation in the office 5-6 years ago. And that's where the pack rat finally paid off with that one box of tile. So it didn't cost any additional money for supplies, and we don't have a mismatch to have to deal with. We are going to be looking for probably mid or third week of June, any volunteers that might be interested in helping us clean furniture, chairs, tables, equipment that's been stored in the garages all these months. Some of them have concrete dust or just dust. So as we put our council chamber back together, happy to have some help getting that stuff all tidied and put back in. For our road improvement and drainage repair grant called the MITMOD for short, the contract was signed. So the process of moving that along continues. It will not fund until at least 2026. But that does mean that it's continuing to move forward. So the process is arduous since it's grant money, but we'll just keep it moving right along.
Can I ask a question?
Sure.
You said it's not going to start until 2026, even though we're going to be, say, approved? Because the money's not going to hit us until 2026?
The process of going through the grant, and so the project's been approved, the streets and all of the locations are approved. The contract's now signed between well, I lost it.
Take your time.
Because it's grant money, all of these entities have to be included. This is not a tech stop project. This one is specifically through the GLO, the General Land Office from the station. So we're doing the process. So there's environmental study and notices that need to go out. So those are the next steps that happen. That's the reason that it will take until next year to get started for a shovel to be in the ground.
All right, so the public should know when they can expect to see a shovel in the ground, right? But based on what you just said, 2026.
Right.
Okay, and then the last question on that is it dependent upon us having all of our audits done, current?
We've already been approved because the audits were all completed that were required for that application.
Okay, so it
So
didn't
yes, it is dependent and yes, we qualify.
So it didn't care about this last one, we don't have.
Right, because this has already been, this was prior to the 2024 fiscal year audit. Okay. We held a technology business review with Impress. It's available for council to take a look anytime you like. It's annual, and we'll follow that up as often as necessary. We learned that Simonton laptop, which is the process that we use, or the equipment that we use in the office, number 001, is basically out of memory. And it's of an age that it can't be upgraded. It's already been upgraded once. So,
is this a laptop? I'm sorry, is it a laptop?
It is a laptop. Mm-hmm. And so we were able to take Simonton 004, which was not in use right now. It was set aside for the city administrator, and we transferred. So the city secretary was using one, we moved it to 4. The reason we're telling you the story is we do not need to buy a new computer right now. We could upgrade the memory, and we're rolling right along with what we have. It will be something for consideration for sure in the new budget. We also have a desktop in the reception office that's 10 years old. All of our computers except that one are able to support Windows 11. Windows 10 as support ends in October. And because of the age, this one just will not be usable for that. So that's not until October. We have all summer to decide how we want to address that, either in the new budget or with technology funds that are already assigned. So we're functional now, but that's something that will be coming up before too long. And last, I will be coming back to council at a future agenda to set a finance committee so that we have council members that are participating in the ongoing oversight of council. That's something that has happened in the past. We haven't had those positions filled for quite some time, so we'll return that as long as council is agreeable. All right, so council members, anyone have a report?
I do.
Okay.
Just wanted to let everybody know that, with talking with Lori, we as a city we got some recommendations, I think 3 recommendations for companies that I'm gonna take on to, consultant companies that we're gonna start vetting and interviewing to start the process of phase 2 for the comprehensive plan. So that's something that I'm gonna work with Lori, and then we get the companies that we talk to them and vet them, we'll bring them in and interview them, and then be able to hire one to move forward. That was something that we talked a lot about during this whole election process, so I just wanted everybody to know that it is still on the forefront for us, and hopefully we'll be able to get that going here within the next month.
And that would be for zoning.
For the right part, sorry, the second part.
I'm sorry, I have a question.
Sure.
Phase 2, what does phase 2 involve? Comprehensive plan?
The zoning, I apologize. So the comprehensive plan phase 1 has already been completed with the dirt. So phase 2 is the zoning portion, but you still have to hire a third-party company to do that. So we've gotten some recommendations of companies to look into, not necessarily ones that we're gonna hire, but it starts the process for us to look into companies that might be a good fit for us.
So it's primarily zoning, we're going to focus on zoning like everybody said we should.
Correct. Well, that's phase 2 of comprehensive plan,
Right.
zoning, yes.
Thank you.
Any other council members? Okay. EDC A and B.
Has not met. The intention is to meet either during budgeting or after, so we can work together and move forward from there.
Good, thank you.
Comment? EDCs, both of
So
them.
if you don't mind, since they are leading the EDCs, maybe we take that offline and coach you. So EDC A and EDC B are backwards,
So they're president of the EDCs. And therefore,
and they have boards of their own.
yes,
Yeah.
they're standalone,
Yes.
and they have their own agenda, and
Mhm.
rules supply, budget, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Okay, I'll wait.
Dean keeps saying Simonton beautiful.
The only updates I have, the spring roundup went well. Could have been better, yes. But I think having it at the new facility was fantastic. And of course, a lot of fun was had with the Battle of the Badges and so on and so forth. We are already gearing up for the Christmas roundup, which will be December 6th. But we are also planning the first beautification project I've been involved in since I've been on KSB. And that would be the monument at the four-way stop, the triangular monument. We'll get the get a mason out there to fix the rocks because they are coming apart. We'll sand and repaint the signs and what have you. Put soil and flowers into the center and make it beautiful once again. And I think that's it.
Sounds great, thank you. All right. Phil, any update for you? Okay. Julie?
No, ma'am.
Thank you for being here and pitch hitting today. Item G, public information request. I think we have public comment from Daniel McJunkin.
That has been removed from
Has been removed.
Yes.
Excuse me? I didn't quite understand.
So request for public comment for Daniel McJunkin's been removed.
Per his request.
On item G.
Okay, and then wasn't there one from Andy that's not listed here? Andy, did you make a public request in the past?
I
Since
did
April?
that, well, she just
Okay.
did March, I'm sorry, go ahead.
That's okay. So the list here, so number one, we don't have any public comment on this item. This is a new item that's been added, item G, requested by our new council member, so that there is a view into what is happening for public information requests. Would you like to explain yourself?
Yeah, just, transparency's been this hot word, right? So we want to get a complete, not just what's out there. I want this, if it's me or whoever it is, so people know what they're asking. That's their right. But I'm like, let's show the entire, what's going on up here. So I asked her, let's just start seeing the FOIA request. That way people know what's going on. And once we reconcile our budget or the money and all that, at the end of the month. So we just start getting we're promoting ourselves better to the public. Is where I wanted to start with this. So, because this is staffs a lot of time, there is some money involved, as part of the process.
I think it's an excellent idea.
That's why I wanted.
Excellent idea. Only question I have is, how do you get, would I just ask you to put something on here and it automatically comes on the agenda? Under here?
You just asked me.
Okay.
There is a process. If council wanted to, you 3 council members can, during a meeting, set an item to be on the agenda. But really, there's usually there's not typically a need for that. You can just send me an email, or we can talk about it. You can tell me what you need, and
So
we
there's
will
no official process to get it on there?
ask me, email me. You can send it to our city secretary, who would send it to me, but really, it's the mayor's agenda, so get with the mayor.
Or get 3 people to do it, but then no, you can't do that. That's why
It
that's.
would be
open
during an
meetings.
open meeting.
Right,
It would
you
be
can't do it.
You can, it would be during a public meeting.
Oh, during the meeting?
Yes.
Oh, they ask for support from 2 other members. That's how you say it? Okay. Understood?
So, can I comment? I know it's getting long. So Eric, I met with her about an hour and a half last week and said, hey, this is something with this. She goes, yeah, I'll put it on, on the agenda.
I have no problem with that. I think it's an excellent idea. I just was asking for a future for anyone. That's all.
I just want to make note of this. The public has asked us to be 100% transparent. But this is the first that we council members are seeing this list. So I think it's great transparency all the way around. And I think honestly, will answer a lot of questions that are sent out in public out of false statements made out in public. So kudos, good idea.
This is gonna continue, correct?
Yes. Yeah, we'll continue as long as council is interested in it.
I come
It's
back.
kind of work though.
When you turn your face that way, I can't hear you. And you got a
I
nice
asked her
soft
if that was gonna maintain on the, keep it on the agenda, or if it was a one.
Oh, thank you.
You bet. All right, item 10, our next regular city council meeting will be on Tuesday, June 17th.
Madam,
I think we will probably meet here one more time, but we'll keep you posted about location, just in case something wonderful happens and we can move on this time.
may I make a comment?
Sure.
So we normally have a special meeting first and third, right? So the 20th would be our next meeting, had we not had this, is what you're saying? And the only reason I bring it up is that we have so much.
You mean for May?
Yes, yes, ma'am. We have so much to get done. I mean, we're talking about zoning, we're talking about, again, we have a lot of discussions to have about roads and everything else, right? And then budget. We're gonna hit the budget cycle right quick. You know, you're gonna be working on it along with everything else. So would it not be good to have a meeting that says we're gonna focus on and make a list of agenda items to help us get started? If nothing else, make it a short meeting where we have the discussions.
We can have a meeting. We can have meetings on other days. We have 0 staff right now, and that's all at the moment. Publish the agenda and have all the backup. It's pie in the sky if I tell you that I'm ready in 2 weeks. So if it becomes possible, we'll be happy to call.
I'm the only one saying that if anybody else wants to chime in, it's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, I
Oh,
don't
don't
know.
worry, you're gonna get sick of meeting at least twice a month in
I'm not gonna
short
get
order,
sick
but.
of
Not knowing the rules,
Yeah.
can we just communicate via email about ideas and things that we're working on, like with, you know, meeting with, you know, I can talk to you guys openly, I mean, via email in regards to things like this, or does this only have to do with at a meeting, deal with things like this at a meeting? Or can we
You
just-
can, Phil, you want to answer in the.
Yeah, so part of the open meetings requirement is city council cannot meet or deliberate on any item outside of an open meeting.
Okay.
Or probably posted open meeting except for executive session, but even that has to convene in a properly posted open meeting, then you go into executive session or closed session. So if you were to email a council member and that council member would email another council member, you have what's called, we commonly refer to as a walking quorum. So you risk violating the Open Meetings Act. Now, information can be relayed to the mayor. Each of you can send, hey, I want this, hey, I want this, hey, I want this, to the mayor. The mayor can consolidate all of that information and then present it at a public meeting.
Okay.
Right, so if there's an ordinance you want or an item that you're interested in or anyone has thoughts on zoning, for instance, you can send those directly to the mayor, the city secretary, or myself. That information will be consolidated and then presented back at an open meeting, just so those items aren't being deliberated or being discussed in a closed meeting. You can set subcommittees. If you wanted to create a zoning subcommittee where you have 2 council members and maybe 1 member of the EDC or something like that, or whatever, I'm just making it up, set a subcommittee as long as there's less than a quorum of members present of the council.
Okay.
If you have a subcommittee of 2 council members and 1 other member of the public and the third council member is interested in listening and comes in, then I would have to say no, that's a quorum because they're it's inevitably going to be city business.
Set up allows us to continue to work on things prior to a meeting.
Yes, with other
Okay.
council members, or again, as long as it stays at 2. Now, of course, if any of those talk to another one
Sure.
about what was discussed in that subcommittee or whatever, then we have issues with open meeting, unless it's done at the open meeting.
Okay.
Well, I guess you would just consider it as a closed meeting, and you have just 2 of us in there and doing something. Consider it like an executive session somewhere, so you'd have to not violate, but make sure you stay innocent. We want to stay innocent.
Yeah, it wouldn't technically be an executive session because of the requirements under 551 to open a public meeting before you can go into closed meetings. But the subcommittees are fine. Just for instance, we have a council member on each of the EDCs. They can meet without it being a council meeting, right? They can discuss city matters of that EDC meeting and things like that. And then they can bring that back to discuss at a wider meeting. But if we need to talk about setting up subcommittees and things like that, especially if a couple folks council members want to take on certain tasks. So when we come back to these meetings, it'd be kind of like this, an EDCA board report. It'd be the subcommittee on zoning report, and it could be presented, and if it needs to be an action item, it would be included in the agenda to take action on the recommendation from the subcommittee on zoning to whatever it might
Did
be.
we just set that up with you, or did we set that up? Like a subcommittee, sorry, with you. Okay. Thank you.
Questions? All right. Item 11, let's adjourn. It is 8:33.